Okay, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using the factor theorem in order to factorize fully this expression here, and then using those factors we're going to solve this equation. The process that we use in order to do this is called the factor theorem, and there's a very, very specific method, and that is initially it's by guesswork. Now, to do this properly, you need to actually take great care in the way you set it out. So it's very important that you write it in this format. Let f of x equal the original expression. And then what we're going to do, because we're going to be guessing solutions, we need to adopt the empty bracket formula. And we're going to be making or showing the working out for at least 3 guesses. So we complete another 2 rows of empty brackets. Now on our course, the solution for x will be a positive or negative whole number, an integer. So we need a systematic approach to this problem in order to solve it. So the first value of x that we're going to choose is the value x equals 1. And then what we're going to do is substitute this value of 1 into these empty brackets. We're then going to reach for our calculators and type in 2 open bracket 1 close bracket cubed minus 3 open bracket 1 close bracket squared minus 17 open bracket 1 close bracket plus 30 equals 0. And when we've actually done that, we're going to get a result, and the result is 12. Now, we know from the factor theorem that if x equals 1 is a solution to this equation, then the answer at the end has to be 0. Now, the answer is not 0. It is clearly not 0. So therefore, we can quite clearly say, because the output is not equal to 0, then the input number is not a solution. And if that's the case, we now need to guess again. Now, the first guess was x equals 1. The next logical guess is x equals minus 1. So in the prepared empty brackets, you put minus 1. You press the replay button on your calculator and put a minus in front of each of the ones. And then you press the equals sign and you get 12. And once again, you quite clearly state it's not equal to 0. And because it's not equal to 0, then the input number, x equals minus 1, cannot be a solution. So then we go to our next guess. Well, we've done 1, we did minus 1, so the next logical guess is x equals 2. We substitute 2 in, we reach for the calculator, press the replay button, replace the minus 1 in each of the brackets with a 2, we press the equals, and we get a result of 0. Now this is really important because the output is 0. And because the output is 0, we now know that x equals 2 is a root, is a solution. And that's really, really important. Now, because x equals 2 is a solution, we've seen earlier on in the course that we bring the 2 over the equal sign and change the sign. So we can now say that we've got a factor, also x minus 2. Now, if we know the factor of an algebraic expression, then we can use division to find the other factor. And that's what we're going to do now. Now, you should have learned how to do algebraic revision, so we're going to fairly whip through this at a pace. The first question we ask ourselves is, what do we have to multiply x by to get 2x cubed? So the answer is, well, we have to multiply by 2, and we have to multiply by x squared. And then we come over here and we write down 2x squared and we multiply it by x minus 2, and we're going to get 2x cubed minus 4x squared. And we write that underneath the existing. So 2x cubed minus 4x squared. Now we're trying to find the remainder. In order to find a remainder, we have to do a subtraction sum. So minus 3 minus minus 4 means minus 3 plus 4. Minus 3 plus 4 is going to be 1, so it's 1x squared. And with any long division, you bring down the next item. And then we ask ourselves the question, what do we have to multiply x by to get 1x squared? Well, clearly it's plus 1, and then it's an x. To double check, we come over here and we do the multiplication and multiplying it back. 1x on x is 1x squared minus 2x. And we know we've got it right because the first item matches the one above, and this is going to be minus 2x. We put brackets around it, put a minus, do the subtraction to work out the remainder. Minus 17 minus 2x is minus 17 plus 2x. Minus 17 plus 2 is minus 15. Use a calculator if you're nervous. Then we bring down the next term, which is plus 30. And then you ask the question again, what do I have to multiply x by to get minus 15x? And clearly it's minus 15. So we do the multiplication over here, minus 15 on x minus 2, and we now get minus 15x plus 30. Now we're absolutely delighted. It means we've got it right because the bottom pair, they both match, and so when we do the remainder, we get 0, and therefore we know that we've got this right. So currently we now have two factors. We have x minus 2 to factor and 2x squared plus 1x minus 15 as the second factor. I'm going to move to the next page in order to give us more room in order to answer this question. So what we have here now is the original equation from the previous page. We have just done on the previous page this to get the result, and now we're going to progress. We know that x minus 2 is a factor, and we also know this is a factor. So when we multiply two factors together, we get the original. So now we have this x minus 2 on the quadratic is the same as the answer above, both equal to 0. So to continue to solve this equation, I've now got to factorize this algebraic expression. So what I'm going to do is, I know it's going to become two brackets. That quadratic expression will become two brackets. So I write two brackets here in preparation. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this off over to here and do the working out down here so that I can keep flowing down the page. So what I want to do now is I want to factorize this quadratic equation. So we're going to use the method that we're familiar with, multiplying the first term by the last term. When we do that, we get a result of minus 30. And now we're looking for all the factor pairs of minus 30. So minus 30, the first factor pair is minus 1 and 30. The next factor pair is minus 2 and 15. The next factor pair is minus 3 and 10. And we've also got minus 5 and 6. And we've also, if you want to change both signs, etc., you've got the other factors here. Now we're looking for a factor pair which comes together to give you a plus 1. So we're looking at a factor pair that gives us a plus 1. Now the pair that gives us the plus 1 is the minus 5, 6. So what we need to do now is split this 1 plus x into the minus 5, 6. So that's what we need to do, split that 1 plus x into the minus 5 and 6. So we do that on the next line. So we've got minus 5x plus 6x. Add them together, make sure you get the line before. And now we're going to factorize this in pairs. So when the common factor for the first pair is x, clearly, and when we take x out as a factor, we're left with 2x minus 5 to Take x out as a factor, we're left with 2x. Take x out as a factor, we're left with minus 5. What we do now is we cheat. We write this same bracket again over on the right-hand side. Because we know by this method, we always get the same answer in both brackets. And then we have to ask ourselves, what is the common factor for the second pair? And then we have to ask ourselves, what is the common factor for this pair here? And clearly it's a plus 3. So there we've now got the plus 3x in there. So now we can factorize the next stage. This is the common factor. We write this down here first. We then put the other x plus 3 in here. Now that's not an x. Sorry about that. I've just realized that shouldn't be there. The common factor here is a 3. My mistake. We'll keep going. Okay, once we've done this, once we've written this down, we can put this back into the equation up here. So there it is. So now we can continue. Here's our 3 factors, and now we're going to continue to actually solve it. So what we have here is we've got x minus 2 is equal to 0. We've also got 2x minus 5 is equal to 0. And we've also got x plus 3 is equal to 0. And then from that, we can go on to finish the problem. We're going to have x is equal to 2, and we're going to have 2x is equal to 5. And then from 2x equals 5, we're going to divide both sides by 2. And then from there, we will end up with x is equal to 5 over 2. Now we've got to finish solving for the last one. So x is equal to minus 3. And now what we have is to finish off the problem. So we now have summary. The factors of 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 17x plus 30 are x minus 2, 2x minus 5, and x plus 3. And the solutions, which we've worked out here, are 2, 5 over 2, and x equals minus 3. Thank you for watching. I hope that's helpful.